I'm with Alan Collins again. He's here for the first proper day of the hearings of the Independent Care Inquiry. You spoke today for the first time. We're not going to deal with that. I want to talk about English things, but anything that occurred today that is worth commenting on?
It's a good start. We have to show willingness and good faith, and in the hope that it's going to be a worthwhile exercise. It was a good start, and that's encouraging.
I thought the background history was a bit long-winded, but it was very informative, wasn't it? The other side.
Yes, we had to listen to quite a lot of detail, but I think it was very necessary because, as you're listening, you think, oh yes, I need to take that on board. I need to take that on board and take note of that, because the committee, if it is going to do its work, effectively needs to understand the history, the legal history, the constitutional history, and the history behind the various children's homes.
And what was interesting about that was this overlap with the United Kingdom, and it's the United Kingdom or England, Wales, whatever, Scotland, that I really want to talk to you about, because there are developments going on over there. There was a great reference today about the fact that most of the officers come over, the law is borrowed from the UK, but there are this huge inquiry which the Prime Minister talked about. And immediately they appointed somebody, a senior judge, a rather elderly judge, and within a week she had to resign. So not a good start in the UK.
Well, we've got to remember there are quite a number of inquiries already in train. We've got the Jimmy Savile inquiry, there's the Stuart Hall inquiry, which is piggybacking on the Jimmy Savile inquiry. There's various inquiries into various hospitals where Jimmy Savile apparently abused children and young people. So there's a lot going on, and the media has covered lots of various allegations concerning abuse and supposed cover-ups, for want of a better term. So it is inevitable, I think, given everything that's being said, for better for worse, that there should be an overarching inquiry, as it were. So we have to see what the Prime Minister does next, or what the government does next.
I was a bit puzzled. I mean, obviously we'd want to be unkind, an 80-year-old lady, maybe she was capable, but it smacked of this inquiry where the first person appointed had to retire immediately through illness. Now, obviously that wasn't her fault, and she wasn't 80 years of age, but it smacked similar that somebody at 80, a huge inquiry, might not be quite up to the mark.
Well, she thought that she was up to the mark, and those who were going to be working with her apparently thought likewise. Time would have told us one way or the other, wouldn't it? But obviously that's not going to happen. She had to withdraw, so it'll be interesting to see
and
the government appoints next.
The supposed reason that she gave wasn't about health grounds, it was because there was a possible conflict with a previous Attorney General related, which smacks of the sort of thing that's going on in this island where everybody's related to everybody else.
Well, with going back to London and the withdrawal by the retired judge, she was placed in an impossible position, right, because the media was, arguing that there was this conflict. Now, whether that was, she had, in my opinion, she had no choice given the, the onslaught, as it were, because even if there wasn't a conflict, there would always be that perception that there was. So she would be damned if she did and damned if she didn't.
Who is capable of handling anything? I mean, you're a competent chap, but I can't imagine you would volunteer if they came along and said, "Could you handle the UK inquiry?" Would you take it on? I mean,
that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Oh, Struth. It must be fascinating. In one sense, horrific in another, but also in another sense actually very interesting to run an inquiry into those sort of issues, because provided you're given the power to summons witnesses and summons documents, you could dig deep, and I would love to do that.
You'd be slightly compromised in the cases you've been involved with, so...
Oh, God. So I'm not going to get appointed then, am I?
I'm trying to understand what competence. What competence do they actually? They're not mystical people, are they? They're human beings.
When they appoint chairman or chair women, or chairs in the 21st century, as we're supposed to say. They are looking for lawyers, although some inquiries into this sort of area may not necessarily be a lawyer, but generally speaking, people who have got the knowledge, the legal knowledge, the knowledge of the subject matter, the intellect and the ability to handle reams and reams of documents, lots of evidence. So, you know, you've got to have someone who's pretty switched on to...
And they must also have a gap in their life, mustn't they? Because you could take out, I mean, some of these inquiries go on for years. So
They
you
do,
don't-
oh yes, some lawyers don't actually like to get involved in inquiries because if they get sucked in, it means that the rest of their practice has to suffer. Because, yes, these inquiries can run on for months, if not years.
So the lawyers in the Jersey context, these lawyers that have come over from the UK, they're doing other things as well as. This isn't what they're totally doing.
I would imagine that they've got other cases that they're having to look after. I don't know. I really don't know, but I suspect from what I know of them, they would have other cases.
Last time we discussed the fact that there was an overlap in cases like Savile case, and it was there were Jersey dimensions. I think it was even Guernsey dimensions, Jersey dimensions. And this might be a reason why the UK inquiry could be extended here, or ought to be. Well, of course, today there's an early day motion gone in, apparently, the House of Commons. They've extended it, John Hemmings and a group of MPs, specifically to ask for the UK inquiry, which one I presume they lost that inquiry, that should be extended to Jersey and St Helena.
Right.
Well, that would extend your travelling a bit, wouldn't it?
Well, I've never been to St Helena, but I understand you can now get there by plane. They built an airport, so
Right.
it used to apparently take 40 days and 40 nights to sail there or something or other, but apparently you can now fly there. So that would be interesting.
But that constitutionally, again, they were listening about constitutional things today here, or they were going to get more constitutional things, but this raises these issues again, doesn't it, about looking at Channel Island affairs, because they're very protective here about doing things themselves. And if the MPs were successful and it was extended here, obviously it would have an impact on this inquiry, which is already going ahead, but it would require...
I would have thought that the British government would say, there's an inquiry already in train in Jersey, we are not going to interfere, end of. And they would have, as far as I can see, they'd have no reason to.
But the bits that do, like Savile, have got an issue here.
It may
Possibly
well-
the BBC have got
Yes,
an issue
it
here.
may well be because there are allegations that Jimmy Savile abused children here, and Hodegren apparently was one of the places where he got up to no good. So I would not have thought that the ongoing Savile inquiry, as it is, would look at Jersey, because it would have no reason to, because the ongoing inquiry is concerned with Savile's relationship with the BBC, if I can put it like that.
Could one inquiry have a relationship with this inquiry? Could they ask for input?
But this latest inquiry that's been announced by the government, it could look into Savile and others, and if people came forward with complaints that they were, say, abused by Savile or whoever on Jersey, then that inquiry may well want to look at whatever or not